Okay, everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you guys came to visit. Check out this video. In today's video, we are doing a little bit different of a video. We are not making a wreath or a craft. We're not doing a haul, and we're not talking about a specific, well, we're talking about a specific thing. But if you guys, but I'm going to be working on my guinea pig diamond art while I sit here. That way you guys don't sit here and look at a blank screen and listen to me talk. I'll be productive, and you have something to look at least. But if you haven't just tried one of these guys, they're pretty fun. It's like a color by number, but instead you're adding diamonds to the mat by the different pictures or designs that are on here. But I got this on, I think I got it from the Diamond Art Club. But if you look up diamond art, and you can find it, I got it online for like $19.99 or something. It's pretty fun. But if you guys like are bored, since we're all in quarantine right now, it's something that you should try out. But today's video is going to be a little bit of a talk with me. I'm going to be talking about how I got started in the wreath business and how I started making wreaths and crafts and what I've all done and where I sell and all that kind of stuff, since I really didn't give an intro when I started this YouTube channel. I just started with videos right away. But I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of info so you get to know me a little better and what I've done and when I've started and how long I've been doing this for and that kind of stuff. So, as I sit here and do this, I'll talk about it. So, my name is Max, if you guys didn't know, and I am the owner of MB Crafts, which is my company, or my crafting company. I'm going to flip this upside down now, so it's kind of going to be a little tilted, because I'm working on over here. But, yes, so, I have been, actually maybe I'll just sit here, that way it's not upside down for you guys, that's going to be a little annoying. But I've been doing crafts, and I've ran this business for going on 5 years now. I started in 2015. I am a sophomore in high school, so I am still in high school, so I don't have a lot of time to do this, since I do have school 9 months out of the year. But I do this on my spare time, usually when I get home from school, or summertime I start. I also have a job in summer too, so that I also do. But yes, the reason I got into this business was I really loved art when I was little. I loved art class. I loved creating things. I loved drawing and all that kind of stuff. So my great aunt, she used to sew, and she got me hooked on making these little pom-pom like little pom-pom balls. Actually, I think I have one in here. Here, I'll show you. I found one of these the other day when I was cleaning. I don't know if it's in frame, but yes, she got me hooked on making these little pom-pom balls. So I used to make them every time I went over there. And one day, I think it was for my birthday, or maybe it was just out of nowhere, she bought me the kit. It's like they're little plastic things, and then she bought me the scissors, and that's the scissors, and it's my favorite scissors, and it's very sharp, and I broke it, so I had to glue it back together. But yes, she got me hooked on making those. She used to make them, and she used to add them onto like slippers and all that kind of stuff. Well, I made them, and I added them onto pencils. And in 2015, my aunt and uncle opened a pumpkin farm. If you guys don't know, it's called Beekler Farms. It's located in Belgium, Wisconsin. It is an amazing place. I say a lot. I'm trying not to say a lot. But yes, so they opened that up, and they started having vendors go in during the pumpkin farm season. They'd come in, they had like a little gift shop where you could buy stuff, and they had different vendors set up. And the first year I didn't do anything because I worked there, and then the next year, I was like, maybe I should make some of those pencils and just sell them and see how it goes. I made a bunch of them. I used to give them to my cousins and stuff. And I was like, why not? And they would sell, and little kids would love them. And then the next year, I was like, well, I want to make a little bit more. Let's see what else I can make. So I made, I did a couple, like, different things. Actually, no. One day, my mom, for Christmas, was like, Max, you should make these for Christmas. This is so cool. It was like on Facebook. It was a wreath made out of candy canes. You would hot glue the candy canes together outside, and you put like a cardboard thing in the middle that said like Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or like that kind of thing. And for Christmas, I surprised her and I made her one. And she was like, this is so cool. I love this. I didn't know you were actually going to make it. Trust me, guys, this thing did not look good. Like, it's nothing that I would make now. But I was like 4th, 5th grade at that time. And then, I think it was because that 5th grade, we had to make a Christmas present for our parents. Because, and back then you'd make presents for Mother's Day and all that kind of stuff. And we made these wreaths out of full top sandwich bags. And they were, you know what I'm talking about, the ones, they don't zip, they're not Ziploc bags, but you fold the top over. They're really cheap kind of sandwich bags. But you take a wired, like a wired hanger, and you'd bend it into a circle, and you would fold up the thing, and you would tie it on, and it made this really cool wreath. So I made that for my parents, and I was like, I should make these. So the next year, after the first year, I didn't do anything. The next year, I did just the pop balls, the pencils. And then the next year, I started selling those candy cane wreaths and the garbage bag wreaths, yeah. And then I started to realize, like, people are going there for Halloween and fall because they're not worried about Christmas yet. So I was like, the next year, I said, I need to start making something for Halloween. So I went into and I started making different, I started looking up craft fair videos, and I was seeing what they were selling, and I made these like paper clips with a ribbon coming off of them. You could use them for bookmarks or planners or fancy fancy paper clips. So I made those, and I made some other different I decorated some jars as home decor, and I made little spiders out of flower pots. I created the flower pot, and I used the pipe cleaners as like the legs and that kind of stuff, and made pumpkins and stuff. And it started to sell, and I was not worried about it selling. I just liked making the stuff. So I'm just going to check to make sure it's still videotaping. Okay, good. So, so I would make those, and it was not that nice. They weren't, like, perfectly quality. By this, I think I was, like, in 6th grade or something. And it was not the greatest, of things, but at that time, when you're little, you think it looks good. Anything that you make, you consider looking good. Going back now, I'm like, no wonder why no one bought it, because, yeah, they might think it's cool, but, like, when these people are going to spend money, they want it to look nice, because they're going to be putting this up in their house. I can't see, okay. So, yeah. So then the next year, I was like, okay, this year I need to start doing it a little bit better, because I'm getting older, so I should start getting better, and I was going, and I started doing journals, and I started making different journals, and that kind of stuff. And one day I was getting something for Halloween at the dollar store. I know I was at the dollar store, and I was looking through their Halloween stuff because I was looking for something for one of my crafts I was making. And I came across like a little like station, and they had a bunch of supplies for wreaths. And I was like, ooh. And back then, or I think they still do, but they would have like the mesh, like the real cheap 6-inch mesh that they have at the dollar store, and they had their wreath forms. I still use the wreath forms because they're real nice. But, yeah, they'd have the mesh, and they'd have, like, the little, like, the tubing, and they'd have the different spiders and stuff you could add in, and I thought it was cool. There was a picture on, like, the mesh, and it showed this cool wreath, and I was like, ooh, that would be something that I think someone would buy. So I looked at the materials, and it would tell you all the materials, and I got the materials. I came home, and I started making it. Well, of course, I didn't buy enough, so I called my mom, and I asked her on her way home from work if she could stop and get some more mesh because they ran out. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. So then I made a couple of I made 2 of them, I think, that year, of the Halloween ones. And then I went in and I bought some stuff for Thanksgiving wreaths, because I said, oh, I can make some fall ones. And they turned out to, back then when you're in 6th or 7th grade, I don't remember what grade it was, and you make a wreath, you think it's so cool. My mom thought they were real good, and then I sold them at the farm, and I sold them. Back then, it was like a $12 wreath, because I didn't know that. I paid $5 for the thing, so I thought, oh, if I'm making $7 off the wreath, I'm making money. So, yeah, I started selling them, and then I went in, and I think that year I didn't do as many Christmas wreaths, because I couldn't find real cool Christmas mesh. And this was before I started going into all the Joann fabrics and Hobby Lobby and Michael's. I used to go in there for some stuff, but I didn't really know what I was buying at that time. I was more of a paper crafter at that time, so I was going in and I was buying paper, I was buying punches, I was buying that kind of stuff. And I really never saw that they had the mesh, and like now you go in and you go right to the mesh when you're a wreath maker like me. But at that time I didn't have it, so I think the dollar store came out with a Christmas candy cane wreath form, and I thought it was so cool, so I made a candy cane wreath, and my grandma bought it, so I was like, okay, so then I started, but then that Christmas, I was still selling my candy cane wreaths and my full top bag wreaths, and I made a couple. Then I started going into Christmas, and I was like, I need to make something, because during Christmas time, I don't think I told you guys this, so they had the pumpkin farm during pumpkin season, and then a couple years later they started a Christmas tree farm where they brought in a bunch of trees from another place that were already cut down, and they set them up in the barn, and you could just go and choose them. So then they started having vendors for Christmas, and there used to be all different vendors. There was a sign lady, or there still is. Hopefully this year we actually can open the pumpkin farm and this coronavirus starts to go away. But there's a sign lady, there's a pickled lady, there's a jam, there's jewelry, there is a crochet, there is a honey, there's like a nail art type thing, there's a couple different scarf people, there's different jewelry people, and they make necklaces, and there's another lady that does like personalized signs and different stuff with her Cricut. And I said, what is here that, oh, now there's a metal person, they do like metal art and stuff. So yes, there's a bunch of different variety, but I'm like, those are like, and people buy them for gifts and stuff, but I'm like, what can I start making that people would buy that's not here? And I thought about it, and I started watching videos, people doing craft fairs for Christmas, and I came across stocking stuffers, and I said, oh my gosh, this is an amazing idea. So I started watching videos and seeing what people are making and top 10 or best sellers, so that way I knew what I was going to sell. And I came across, I started making Hershey's bar snowmen, and I don't have any. If I had any, I would show you them right now, but I don't have them. So I just took a Hershey bar, I wrapped it in paper, I printed off snowman faces, and I would wrap it around. I make the hats and the scarves, and those were my best seller. They would sell so nice. I sold them for $2, $2.50 the first year, and then a couple of years, I think last year, I marked them up to $3 because I would make them. I crap you not. I would make them, and the pumpkin farm or the Christmas tree farm would be open for 4 weeks. Last year, actually no, it's the first year. I made them I think last year was my second year making them, in my first year. Wait, no. 3 years ago was my first time doing that. So that would have been 8th grader, I think. 8th grade. I was in 8th grade, and I started making them. I made stocking stuffers. I made snowman gum. I made different little like notebooks and stuff that they would use for stocking stuffers, and I made the Hershey's snowman. And I would make, I think the first year I made like 12 of them. I bought 2 packs of 6. I was like, I don't want to make a bunch because I don't know how they're going to sell. Well, I sold them all right away. So I made a couple more, and this was 3 years ago, and in the town that my uncle owns, pumpkin farm, is, they'd have their parade. Every town has a Christmas parade, and they would have a parade, and after the parade, they would have a market. They called it the European market, and they'd accept vendors, and it was like $10 a table. So my aunt set up a table one year, and she said, Max, you could bring some of your stuff and sell it on the table. They're giving me a free 2 tables because I'm part of the village, and they're letting us bring, so I said, okay. So I made a couple Hershey bar snowmen. Well, before I could even get into the thing even opened, the person in charge of the thing bought all my snowmen. I think I had 15 of them maybe, and they bought all of them. So I was like, okay, well, that's good, but now I don't have any to show anybody. So last year, so right now is April. So when I'm saying last year, I'm not talking about this latest, 2 years ago, 2 Christmases ago. The Christmas tree farm opened again, and I made, I think, 60. I made 60 that year. I said, they're gonna sell out, or I said, I need to make a lot. And within like the first couple weeks, I think it was the first 2 weeks, I sold all of them. So I made a couple more. I was like, I don't want to make a couple, so I made a couple more, and they sold. So then last year, I brought I think I made 120 of them. and I think they sold out within the first 2 weeks, and I made like 60 more, and then they sold out again. So they are my best seller. And so last year I made more Christmas wreaths because finally that time, wait. 2 years ago, yes. So no, it would have been last year, yes. So last year, I finally realized that they sold mesh at all these other stores, and not just at the dollar store. So I was like, well, I'm not going to buy it at the dollar store anymore. So I think I made some Halloween ones, and I made some Packer ones because I live in Wisconsin. I made some Badger ones, and they sold. But I would only buy like the mesh, and I only knew the loop method, like where you pull it in through the next bar, you pull it into the next bar, pull it into the next bar, done. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. I didn't know the whole all the different techniques. So last year I made them for that, and then I made some real simple ones for Christmas where I just took one roll of the 6-inch mesh and I did a loop method, and that's all I did. I didn't add any signs, didn't add any ribbon, didn't add anything into them. And I think I sold almost all of them because they were cheap. I think the highest wreath that I sold was for 20 bucks. And I said, okay. So then I started out this year. I started doing them, or last year after Christmas, I bought a bunch of mesh and I started making them because I said, and I started researching different wreath videos because I said, I think these wreaths are really what's making me, a lot of these people are buying these wreaths. And I said, I think I'm going to start making the wreaths because I can make more money out of them. I used to sit down and make all those Hershey bars and stuff, and I'd sell them, and they were real nice. They were real cheap items too. Those would sell. But I said, I think what I really love doing is wreaths. And someone asked me one time, they're like, what are your hobbies? And I said, I don't really know. I didn't want to say crafting because I didn't know if that was a hobby of mine. And they said, what do you like doing? And I said, I like wreath making. And they said, okay, well then that's one of your hobbies. And then from then on, and they said crafting is also a hobby too. Well, at that time, I just looked at it as a way of making money. I didn't really look at it as being a hobby. But after I thought about it, I was like, I love doing it, so it is a hobby. It's something I love doing. If someone gives me a day of free time and tells me to do whatever I love doing, more than likely I'm going to come sit down at this desk and make a wreath or make some cards or do something. So it's a hobby of mine. So I said, I'm going to go. So I started watching all these videos of people making wreaths, and from then on, I just learned. I'm self-taught. I didn't get taught. I didn't go to any classes to make wreaths. I didn't have any family members or a mom or a dad. Some people have like moms or dads that are wreath makers, and that's how they learn. No, I watched videos. I've watched people like Southern Charm Wreaths with like Julie Samako. I've watched Hardworking Mom with Lori Jacobs. I think that's her name. I've watched Deco Exchange. I've watched, there's a couple other ones, like Julie's Wreath Boutique or something like that. And I've learned so many different ways to make wreaths. And it's crazy that after looking back at my wreaths that I've made 2-3 years ago to the ones that I made like just yesterday, I made my hunting wreath. It doesn't even look like something. And everyone used to tell me when they come to the pumpkin farm, they say, Max, you're getting so much better. Every year when I come back and I look at your table and all your products, you get better every single year. And that's why I'm really excited because I don't think my wreaths last year looked good. Well, obviously, when you first start, your wreaths are not going to look as good as you are now because it's kind of like, yeah, you start off and they don't look as great. But now I'm like, I can't wait for people to see them this year. If we have the pumpkin farm, I can't wait for people to see them. They're gonna look and they're gonna be like, is this Max's work? Because it doesn't look like it anymore. I finally got better and better, and I'm still improving. I can tell when I made my first wreath this year to my wreath that I made last night, I can see a total different change of how I've made my wreaths. So that's how I learned. I watch YouTube videos, and if you're looking, hopefully my YouTube videos teach you how to make wreaths. If you're like me and you're finally like what am I trying to say? You're trying to start making wreaths, but you don't know how to make them, and maybe you started off making dollar store wreaths, and hopefully my videos help and give you tips and how I learn, because that's how I learned. I didn't know what a rotary cutter was 2 years ago until now, and now I'm like, this thing is like one of my best friends, and it makes your life so much easier. I didn't know that adding ribbon into your wreath, I didn't know that adding ribbon tails was a thing in making a wreath. Because when I made my wreath, I would just add in the mesh, and I would call it a day because that's all I knew. But, and back then I used to think that my wreaths were so amazing and that I was like, why are people buying? But then now I'm like, because people, yes, they're real cheap, and they were nice for how much I was selling them for. I don't think I would have got $60 out of the wreath that I made last year, or a couple of years ago. But now I'm like, I'm getting better and better and better, and I can't wait to see how my wreaths turn out. And yeah, so I'm starting to collect a lot of ribbon. I've had to go out to the store and buy some, oh my gosh, my hand is stuck. I had to go out and buy some containers because I'm getting so much stuff for these wreaths to start making them, but I have no storage for them. So yeah, I'm getting better, and that's how I started. And I sell at craft fairs. I sell at my Uncle and Aunt's pumpkin farm and Christmas tree farm. And this year they were supposed to have, every year they have like a ladies' day out where they bring in vendors and you can come and shop. It's like a shopping day. And I had a table for that, but that was supposed to be in like May. But since our governor of Wisconsin has expanded the quarantine or stay-at-home order, it got canceled. So now I'm kind of relying on Facebook to sell some of my wreaths, but otherwise I want to get on Etsy. I'm still researching. That's what I've been doing on my free time, is researching Etsy, like watching videos on Etsy and how to start an Etsy business, because I'm not sure about the whole like the shipping out thing. It's kind of going to be new to me, but I guess you got to start somewhere. And I'm still trying to get my wreaths a little bit better. I'm still trying to improve a little bit, so that's why I'm kind of relying on Facebook right now, and people that I'm taking custom orders. So I've been sharing different wreaths that I make online, so that way people can see and get ideas. I did a custom hunting wreath, and it's actually on my YouTube channel now, for a customer, and I posted a picture of that on Facebook saying that if I can make custom wreaths like this one, you just gotta tell me what you want, what's your price range, and I can go out and I can go in search. It's kind of hard right now since I can't go to the store, but I've been relying on the wreath shop and the craft outlet, and that's another thing that I'm finally like getting into. Like, I didn't know that all these shops online, like I didn't know that craft outlet was a thing. I didn't know that the wreath shop was a thing. I didn't know Trendy Tree, Trends and Gems, Deco Exchange. I didn't know any of those were a thing until now, after I've been doing research, and then people tell me. I just thought that people were getting all these wreath supplies from like Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby and Walmart and Dollar Store and that kind of stuff, but I'm finally starting to go out, and I was kind of scared to spend a lot because I didn't know. I thought my $12 wreaths were expensive. I was like, okay, my most expensive wreath was $20, and I'm like, I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit expensive. But after I go in, I'm like, okay, well now I'm selling these wreaths for $50, and I'm like, that doesn't even seem like enough to me now. And I'm like watching the people that are selling the wreaths for $100, and at first, when I started making wreaths, I was like, oh my gosh, $185 for a wreath. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, I don't know, I can't expect someone to buy my wreath for that. But after I started making wreaths, and I'm starting to sell mine for $60, and they're not even to as much as I want to add, I'm like, yeah, after you add in your wreath, your supplies, and your time, the wreath price just keeps on going up. So I'm like, pretty soon, before Christmas happens, I will be having a wreath that are $100 and some. So, yes, you learn as you go. I never was self-taught. I'm still learning. Still not going to say I'm a professional wreath maker, because I'm not. I'm still learning. I learn every time I make a wreath, I learn something. I see as I go, and when I make mistakes, and when I make a mistake, I learn from it. You just can't be afraid. I know there's people out there that right now that they go out and they buy the materials for the wreath, and then they just sit there and they look at it and they're like, okay, I'm scared to start it. You just need to go out. You just have to start with your mesh, and then go from there. Once you have your mesh in, if you want to use a sign attach sign it. If you're going to use ribbon, use your ribbon. I could say that a couple weeks ago I was not good at, and I was terrified, and I did not want to make a bow because I used to be so bad at making a bow. And I didn't want to go out and buy a big Bobadabra because I'm like, I don't want... And after I watched a couple of videos, now I'm starting to get used to it, and I've made a couple of bows, and I'm starting to like them. I've learned from what I did. I went out there, and I started making my bow. I said, it's too late to stop now. I'm just going to go. If I don't like it, then I don't like it. And I can improve on it. But you can't be afraid. Just go out, whatever you want. Start with your focal point. Say it's a sign, or say you like this ribbon. Well, then go off and look at the colors that are in the sign or the ribbon, and then choose your mesh, and then choose whatever you want to add into it, your florals. I'm going to turn this sideways, you guys, so I can kind of work on this. But, yes, so don't be afraid to go out there and start, just like I did. I started with that dollar store wreath. If you want, go out and buy some stuff from the dollar store. That way, if you mess up, you can say, oh, I only spent like $10 on this wreath. Or if you want, go out and buy some real cheap deco mesh from like Joann Fabrics or Michaels and start, and you can always take it apart if you don't like it. I've done that before. I started and I'm like, okay, I don't like this. Untwist your pipe cleaners and start over. But you're not gonna learn unless you start, and that's how I started. I just went out and I figured out what I wanted to make, and I said, okay, I'm not gonna just buy these materials. I need to start, and I'll learn from it, and it brought me to where I am today. So, yes, that's kind of a story on me. I don't know what else I was going to talk about. People come up to me, like my aunts and uncles, and they say, wow, Max, you really improved. When I saw your first wreaths, I thought they were really cool, and I was like, I can't believe you made those. And now that I see these wreaths now, I'm like, wow, you made those? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, who's teaching you this kind of stuff? And I'm like, YouTube. Everyone asks me, how are you learning this stuff? Do you have like a teacher or someone that teaches it, or a friend? And I'm like, nope, YouTube. YouTube has taught me almost everything that I've learned. YouTube videos, research, and my creativity. I just started, and that's what happened. So, yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about me. I know I should have done this probably like the first video I made on my YouTube channel, but I was just so excited to start making wreath tutorials, so I started that way, but I finally came on here and I'm teaching a little bit about me. So if you have any questions or need any help, maybe you're a first-time wreath maker and you're starting like I did a couple years ago and you don't know how, and you need questions on different things, email me. My email is here. I'll write it out on a piece of paper. I'll also put it down in the comments below, but it's oh wait, this is very small. Let me write it on a piece of like cardstock or something. Here we go. I'll save this so I can add this in my videos. It is here. Or otherwise you can also put a comment down below or personal message me on I check my comments. So it's maxwellbeak13@gmail.com. All maxwellbeak13, all one thing, at gmail.com. So I'll also put this down in the description box of this video if you guys want. So yeah, if you have any questions or you want to show me a wreath that you make and I can help you on kind of give you a tips on what I would do to improve it, or if you have like, if you are at a if you're bought some materials but you don't know what's going to look good together, I can help you on like the coloring and stuff. Or you have a sign that you want to make a wreath with, but you're afraid to go to the store and pick up your mesh, I can help you with what color you should use. Just go off and whatever your main focal point is. Maybe you're at the store and you love the way this burlap mesh looks, or you really like the way this red ribbon looks, or this flower sign that you found. Well, say there's purple, pink, yellow, and white, we'll say. Okay, well, I'd use whatever one of those colors I'd use as your mesh, and then I would go in and I'd maybe find a purple and a pink ribbon, or a yellow and a pink ribbon, or maybe like a purple, pink, yellow flower ribbon or something, and then I would you just got to go off the colors. you don't want to go in with a purple sign and a yellow ribbon, or go in with a purple sign or a sign that's got purple, yellow, pink, and then have your mesh be a dark blue or something, or a black, because that's not going to look good. You kind of got to go off of your colors. Maybe you have making a spring wreath and you're going to use some real light colors. Well, I wouldn't add anything dark because that's going to offset the wreath. So you kind of got to just go with coloring. I want to make a video about coloring and how I choose my colors for my wreath, and I got a couple of videos for you guys. But if you got any other video ideas that would help you become a better wreath maker, or any videos you want to see that you don't see on YouTube that I could make, just comment down below or email me, like I just showed you my email. But otherwise, yeah, that's how I started, you guys. I kind of just started and learned from my mistakes. But no, I didn't take any classes. I didn't pay anyone to teach me. I just taught myself. That's basically what you can do. And I can, oh my Lord, you guys, that was a mistake. I don't know if you guys could, I don't know if that was on camera, but if it wasn't, I kind of almost tipped this thing over. Not as bad, and at least I didn't get it on here. When you get it on here, it's bad. But otherwise, guys, yeah, if you're bored and maybe you don't want to make a wreath, or maybe you don't want to make that and you want to do something, I would check out diamond art. This is very fun. I don't get to it as I've been working on this for a couple months. I just, whenever I have some free time when I don't want to make a wreath or something else, I kind of just sit down here. It's very relaxing. I watch videos. Usually I'm making this and I'm watching a wreath tutorial or something from someone else's channel, learning as I'm going. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I don't know how long this video is, 31 minutes, so I'm going to kind of get off of here. I didn't want to make a very long video, but I kind of like to ramble on and talk. But yes, this is my story and how I became a wreath maker and how I started my business. Hopefully soon I can start my Etsy shop and get that running. But yes, I've always wanted to do YouTube videos. I started a little YouTube channel once about my animals, and then I didn't like it. It was really bad. It was really cringy. So yes, I deleted that, and I thought, why not make wreath videos? I'm making my wreath anyways, and why not make this? So yes, guys, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe, comment, like I told you, email me if you have any questions or anything, and turn on your post notifications so you get notified every time I upload a video. But until then, you guys, hope you have a great night, day, whatever time you're watching this. If you're watching this during quarantine, hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. And thanks to any healthcare workers or any essential workers that are working right now. I thank you. Otherwise, guys, have a good rest of your day or night. Goodbye.